You all seem to be as fascinated with my dreams as I am. So today we're going to be talking about future life dreams. If this interests you, stick around and let's get into it. Hi, I'm Veronica and welcome back to the Wholeness Shift. If this is your first time here, welcome. I teach about easy, practical spirituality and help you navigate your spiritual awakening. I talk about intentional living and multidimensional beings, the law of attraction, all of that interesting stuff. So if this is the stuff that's up your alley, hit the subscribe button below because I wouldn't want you to miss out on anything good. Now, I've had many dreams that appear to be from the future. A lot of them are just benign. They're nothing special, like driving around in a car that's obviously futuristic, that kind of thing. But there are some of them that just stand out as pivotal. And so I've selected a few of those to talk about today. So if you remember the reincarnation video I made a few years ago, where I talked about the series of dreams that I had had about a lady named Sheila that I was in London in the 1920s. And yes, her name is Sheila. I know I wouldn't give that name out during the video. I just thought, she still has kids and grandkids that are living. It might be kind of weird if they stumbled across that video seeing someone claiming to be their mom or grandma. But so many of you super sleuths out there were able to find her, and yes, that's who it was. Her name was Sheila, and good job, by the way. So anyways, in the same manner that I had a series of dreams about her life, I've also had a series of dreams about another life, a male life that I'm going to be having in what I believe is the future. So I've actually saved two of his dreams for last here because I feel like they are the most poignant. And so if you want to hear about those, you have to stick around till the end. Number one. So in this dream, I always believed this dream to be in the future until yesterday. Literally, I've had this dream years ago. But just last night, I was watching Corey Goode. If you guys know him from like Cosmic Disclosure and all that, I was watching some of his videos, some of his interviews. And he was talking about this one, he was talking about many different experiences he had with the ETs, but this one where he was talking about being in a different command center somewhere off of Earth and the way that it looked, and about these jumpsuits that everyone was wearing. And all of a sudden I got this flash in my mind of this dream I'm getting ready to talk about. And so I was like, Spomi, wait, this dream, and I gave a mental image of the dream I was talking about. I'm like, this dream that I always thought was a future tense dream, was that actually like an alien visitation dream? I was in this place like Corey Goode? And he said yes. So I actually need to dig more into that with him and get some more details and confirm that that was accurate, because this dream that I'm getting ready to talk about may be past life, or future life rather, but it may also belong in a dream about my alien visitations. So I'll tell you about the dream anyways. So in this dream, I don't even know that any of us were still on Earth. I never saw outside. I never saw anything like that. I was inside of what looked like a massive warehouse, or like a bunch of airplane hangars or something that were put together, and like in between each hangar was divided by these massive heavy doors. And everyone was wearing a jumpsuit, like a flight suit kind of, that had a patch on it with what country or what location they originated from. Like, we originated from Earth and the United States, or Earth and whatever country. And each location was separated into different areas of this hangar. And that's where we lived. That's where we were living. And in order to get in or out of your area, you had to have your badge, which was like your ID or your passport, and you had to swipe it to get access to your area. And for some reason, I was out of my area, like in a common hallway. And there were people that came up that wanted into my area, and I knew they didn't belong in there. And I don't know why I did this. I don't know my reasoning, but I didn't even think twice. I just went over and swiped and let them in, and they like scurried through the door and shut it behind them, and I remained in the hallway. So I'm not sure what that was about, but initially I thought that was a scene from a future life where we were no longer on Earth. We were living in some kind of somewhere, I don't know, but it was all in this big hangar. Like all of the remaining citizens of Earth lived in this place and were divided by country. But now I don't know if it was just, now I don't know. Anyways, take it for what it's worth. That was the dream. Number 2. So in this dream, I was inside of some kind of an underground cave. And if you're from the Ohio area or any of the surrounding areas and you've ever been to Cedar Point, back in the 90s, they used to have a kids exhibit called the Berenstain Bears exhibit. And inside, I don't know, it just reminds me of that, the way there was this path drawn on the floor. I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but if you know, you know. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. So anyways, I was inside of this space. It was obviously like an underground cave or cavern. It had very high ceilings, and it had this ambient lighting kind of implanted in the walls and glowing up towards the ceiling. But it was rather dim inside. It was still very dim lighting, but it wasn't dark, if that makes sense. And there was on the ground what looked like a man-made path, which would be their street, but it was just wide enough for 1 or 2 people to walk on. And on each side of the path were dwellings, they were houses. They looked like they had been carved out of the rock. They didn't go all the way to the ceiling. They were from the floor. They kind of looked like igloos, that are made out of snow or ice, except these were made out of rock. They were all one solid piece. It just looked like a rounded rock dwelling with a door in the front, maybe windows in the sides. But everybody had their own little dwelling. And Spomi and I were walking down this path, and looking back on it, we were being kind of obnoxious. We were just talking and laughing and just being our normal selves. And we were walking, and then when we rounded this corner onto this other part of it, looked the same. But anyways, there was an older lady out there like sweeping her little pathway in front of her house. And she was so annoyed with us. She was just like, "Shh, you're so loud." And I guess if you were in that environment all the time, yeah, we were being loud, but that was fair. So anyways, in this place, it was dark and it was underground, and it was like I don't want to say a cave dwelling, but it was like, I don't know, it was under the earth. And then we came out of this place where all their dwellings were into this, what looked like I just think of it like a common room, like where they would go to have activities or eat their meals or something. It was a much, much larger space, much larger ceiling. I mean, just a massive, big room. And there was like a desk with what I would think of as like a concierge or like a property manager there. And there was a thing on the ground and a thing hanging on the ceiling that looked kind of the same. It was just a bunch of lights. It's really hard to explain, but it was a bunch of lights, and they could be lit up all at one time, or like the thing on the ground, you would go look at it and let these lights shine in your eyes. But at the time of this dream, I had no idea what that was, but I think I found out a few years ago. I was also listening to Corey Goode at that time, and I was watching him on Gaia, which I'm so disappointed he's no longer on Gaia. Gaia and David Wilcock and Corey Goode, they had some kind of a disagreement. And so Corey had said a couple negative things about Gaia in the press, and Gaia canceled his contract, kicked them off, and deleted all copies of their show. So, anyways, at the time, Corey Goode was talking about this when he visited Middle Earth and these cave dwellings that he had seen or experienced, and how they had these light installations that you would stare at, or that would, the purpose of them was to help you not get sick, because when you live this subterranean life and you're not getting any of the UV rays from the sun, you can get very sick. And so the purpose of these things were to stimulate your body in a way that made you feel like you were looking at the sun, or they stimulated you to just keep you from getting sick. And when he was describing them, I'm like, oh my God, I saw those. I know exactly what he's talking about. I saw them in a dream, and they were in a cave dwelling. So, yeah. Number 3. So in this dream, I was the leader of some kind of a commune. And I was a male, and I was a white man, and I kind of had a short, scruffy beard, longer hair, like shaggy hair, but not long hair. And it was in the future. I could tell it was in the future, yet it seemed primitive. Think like The Walking Dead without the zombies. Like, there's no modern conveniences. Like, the world is different. Everything's way more primitive, yet modern at the same time. And we lived in this secluded area. I just remember seeing like fields of green grass and wildflowers and the trees. And I remember walking through what was our kitchen, and it, going from memory, I want to say it looked like it was in some kind of an old greenhouse or something, like a portion of this greenhouse had been set up like a kitchen perhaps. And I walked through, and everybody was very kind and loving, and I walked through and was just praising everybody, you know, like, you're doing such a good job. Oh, I bet that's going to be delicious. Thank you for cooking for us, that kind of thing. And I remember walking out the screen door at the end of this room to go outside, and in the distance, way in the distance, I could see whoever they were, the enemy, intruders. They were coming, and I like sounded the alarm, like, red alert, everybody get ready. We have to defend our community. And I remember handing out guns, rifles, to people that were coming up. I was handing out all the guns and just telling them, we've practiced this 1,000 times. You guys know what you're doing. Just stay calm. Don't fire unless we need to. Wait for your instructions. But basically, we were kind, loving, peaceful people, but we were going to protect what we had built from these marauders. And then I woke up. These next two I've only shared with a couple of people, and that's because I feel, especially the last one, it's so poignant, and it was so humbling and very powerful. It leaves me very emotional, and it can be a sensitive topic. And so I haven't told very many people, but I'm going to share it with you guys. Okay, so this series of dreams, I don't know my name, but I know that I believe I'm in America, and I am an African American man. And this dream, number 4, I'm sitting in traffic. I'm at a stoplight on a motorcycle, and I'm wearing a like black, red, and white leather jacket. And I'm holding on to the motorcycle, and I'm just waiting for the light to turn green, but I can see my hands that I am a black man. And then in other dreams that I've had in these series of dreams, he comes from the most loving, joyful, tight-knit family. I feel like they're my family because I've dreamed about them so many times, but I've had a lot of dreams about what I'm assuming is his wife. And she's very pretty, and when he looks at her, just the love and affection that he feels for her. I've had dreams about his children, I'm guessing are his children, a little girl specifically. And then the most dreams that I've had are about an older woman that I'm thinking is probably his grandmother. But I have dreams about their family gatherings, their family dinners, basically all that resonates from the dreams. I woke up just feeling the most love and the most joy, and how like this is my family and they are the best type of thing. So number 5, this is the dream that I don't talk about often because I feel like it's hallowed ground. I feel like I'm already wanting to tear up. It was so poignant and it left such an impact on me. And I'm not going to share all of the specifics that happened in this dream because I don't feel that it would be appropriate for me as the person I am in this lifetime to share those details. It's not my place. This was his dream and his message. I was allowed to observe it and remember it, but I don't feel that those details are appropriate for me to share. But I'll share some of what happened. So in this dream, I was in a large space, like a large room, like a sound stage perhaps. It was all dark except for like a few spotlights shining in the middle down onto this interview space with 3 chairs in it. Does that make sense? Can you picture that? Like this dark room with 3 chairs in the middle and then like bright studio lights just shining there for this interview? Okay. So I was sitting in one of those chairs, I meaning that African American man. And across from me was sitting, on this side was Dr. Martin Luther King, and on this side was Medgar Evers. And in the dream, I remember having that conscious thought of, oh my God, like this is Dr. King and that's Medgar Evers. I mean, holy cow, like I was just taking a breath, like calm down, girl, okay. And they had quite a lengthy discussion about his mission and his purpose in that life and the ways that they felt he could best go about it. He is obviously in a place of needing to help heal these race relations and to help further the cause. And they were giving him instruction and giving them their perspective on the current state of things. And the whole thing, it hit me. And I mean, of course it would hit anybody, but it was very poignant. And I felt very honored and humbled to be there, and humbled to know that in another incarnation, I'm going to be picking up the torch and continuing to help heal the issues, that I will play a part in that. And that I was allowed to observe this meeting. And as I stated before, I'm not going to share the details because they are not mine to share. And I just don't think that they would be appropriate for me to share as a middle-aged white woman in America today. That's not my place. I'm here to be an ally and to show love currently, but that conversation, that's not my place, and it would not fall on people's ears with the same effect that it needs to fall as if it were coming from him versus if it's coming from me. I'm sure you guys understand that, because my heart is to help. My heart is to love. My heart is to be here and help change and make things better on this planet. And if you've watched me for any amount of time, you know the love that I have for everybody and that I am absolutely an ally. It is all of our fight because it's a human fight, but specifically, it's not my fight, and I'm not here to detract from the stance that needs to be taken. I'm here to help and not harm. My goal is to contribute and not contaminate. So, with love and respect, I wanted to share that, but I don't want it to come across wrong, and I don't want it to come across as trite. because it was not trite. It was very powerful and potent. And even to this day, just talking about it leaves me emotionally affected. So we can all see that this is a fight that's going to continue at least into another lifetime of mine, but that it is going to continue to get better and grow and heal. And there are powers on the other side that are absolutely helping with this. All right, you guys, I love you. Until next time.